Have you ever felt like your brain is just completely running on fumes, even when you've barely done a thing? Well, there's a hidden reason for that constant mental fatigue, and it's probably not what you think it is. We're going to dig in and uncover what's really going on inside our heads.
So, does this sound familiar? You wake up and maybe you just scroll on your phone for a couple of minutes, and then boom, your mind just feels heavy. You try to focus on the day, on what you need to do, but it feels like you're trying to run through mud.
And here's the thing you absolutely have to understand. This is not a personal failing. You are not lazy. You don't have a discipline problem. The issue is biological. Your brain is simply overstimulated. And most of us are living this way every single day without even knowing it.
Okay, so first up, let's break down exactly what is happening and why our brains are so completely overwhelmed in this modern world.
You see, our brains were basically designed for slow, simple environments. Where the main priorities were things like finding food and not getting eaten. But today, they're getting hammered, just under constant assault from notifications, infinite social media feeds, and this endless stream of information. Our ancient hardware just wasn't built for this level of digital noise.
So what does all this lead to? Well, it creates a state called overstimulation. It's pretty simple, really. It's what happens when the sheer volume of stuff coming in, sights, sounds, information, even our own feelings, is way more than your brain can actually process.
Okay, here's a really easy way to think about it. Your brain's processing power is kind of like the RAM in your phone. You open way too many apps, and what happens? The phone slows to a crawl, it crashes, and the battery just dies. It is exactly the same for your brain. Too much input, and you break down as all your mental energy just drains away. It's really that simple.
So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, the first type is sensory. This comes from your environment. Loud noises, super bright lights, crowded spaces. If you've ever walked into a busy mall and felt instantly irritable for no good reason, that's it. That's your brain basically screaming that it's overloaded.
Now, the second type, cognitive overstimulation, is honestly probably the most dangerous one in the world we live in today. This is all about getting way too much information and constantly switching between tasks. You know the drill, scrolling Instagram while you're checking emails and also trying to do your actual work. Your brain was never, ever built to juggle like that.
And finally, there's emotional overstimulation. This is when feelings like stress, anxiety, and just general pressure all stack up at once. Your whole nervous system gets completely overwhelmed. It's literally like having way too many emotional tabs open in your browser.
But how does this constant overload actually feel day to day? Because it's not just some minor inconvenience. No, it creates this low-level state of agitation that actually traps us in a really destructive neurological loop.
So how do you know if this is you? Well, the signs are probably going to be pretty familiar. Simple tasks feel impossible. You feel exhausted even on a day when you did nothing. You get annoyed at the tiniest things. You start a bunch of projects but never finish them. And your mind just feels noisy. That's not a character flaw. It's a symptom of a brain on overload. This right here is the core shift in thinking that we all need to make. Seriously, if you take just one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. You don't have a motivation problem. You have an overstimulation problem.
Just think about a typical day. You wake up. First thing you do, you grab your phone. So before your brain has even had a chance to, boot up properly, it's already flooded with emails, notifications, and bad news. And throughout the day, there's no reset button. It's just constant input. The result? Your default mental state just becomes chaos. So what's actually happening inside your brain? Well, every time you scroll and see something new and shiny, you get a little hit of dopamine. But here's the catch. Dopamine isn't about happiness. It's about anticipation and wanting more. It literally trains your brain to crave fast, new, easy stimulation. And this makes real, slow, deep work feel incredibly boring in comparison.
And the cost of this is huge. It's massive. Overstimulation doesn't just kill your focus. It absolutely crushes your creativity. It erodes your discipline, and it makes it harder to make good decisions. When your brain is overloaded, you just react instead of think, and you consume instead of create.
Okay, so that's the problem. It's big, it's everywhere. But here's the good news. It is fixable. So let's get into a really practical system you can use to take back control.
To really get what we're trying to fix here, just imagine trying to have a deep, meaningful conversation with someone, but you're in the middle of a loud nightclub with music blasting. It's impossible, right? All that noise, that chaos, that's what overstimulation is doing to your inner world pretty much 24/7. So, here's the game plan. It's a 5-step system, and it's designed specifically to quiet that internal noise. We're going to reduce our input,
We're going to focus on one thing at a time. We're going to actually embrace silence, own our mornings, and then actively rebuild our ability to focus.
Step 1 is the absolute foundation. You have to reduce the amount of junk that's coming in. Look, you don't have to go live in a cave, but you have to become the gatekeeper of your own mind. Turn off all those non-essential notifications. Be intentional about when you scroll.
And after you reduce input, you have to break the addiction to multitasking. So step 2 is single tasking, just doing one thing at a time. This leads right into step 3, creating pockets of low stimulation. This means actively looking for silence. Go for a walk without headphones. Just sit for 5 minutes without a screen. Now, I'll be honest, it's going to feel really uncomfortable at first because your brain is addicted to noise, but this boredom is where your mind actually recovers. It's where it heals.
All right, step 4 is all about winning that first hour of the day. How you start your morning really sets the trajectory for everything that follows. If you start with a flood of digital chaos, your whole day is going to feel reactive and stressful. So start slow. Delay checking your phone. And what's step 5? Well, it's to train your focus. And this isn't some separate task. It's the natural result of doing the other 4 steps. By reducing input, single tasking, finding silence, and controlling your mornings, you are actively and automatically rebuilding your attention muscle.
And this brings us to the final and honestly the most important idea of all. Because this is about way more than just feeling a little less frazzled. This is about reclaiming your entire life.
Here's the truth that almost everyone misses. You don't need another productivity hack. You don't need more motivation. You need less. You need less noise. Real clarity, real focus, it doesn't come from adding more to your plate. It comes from removing what's not supposed to be there.
And that is the ultimate takeaway. Your attention. It's the most valuable thing you own. Where you choose to place it determines the quality of your work, your relationships, your thinking, everything. You have to protect it fiercely. Because once you control your attention, you truly finally control your life.